he's literally on an airplane, like walking on it while it's flying or something. Like, I'm not interested in that stuff.
You're watching Drive-By Movies. My name is Blaise.
I'm James.
And never have I ever seen Die Hard.
He's an easy guy to like.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
And a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Die Hard is the 1988 action classic directed by John McTiernan. It's about an NYPD officer who tries to save his wife as well as a bunch of other hostages from German terrorists on Christmas Eve. Blaise, your first time watching Die Hard, and actually kind of my first time watching. I've seen it multiple times, but only sporadically in different scenes. But overall, I've always enjoyed what I've watched and stuff, but it's cool to finally like watch it and have a deep discussion with you. So what do you think about it?
So I have to say, I mean, first off, I'm just gonna confront the elephant in the room. You're probably asking yourself, if you haven't already clicked off the video and gone to watch something else, if you're still here, I haven't seen Die Hard for reasons, because honestly, it would piss me off when people would always say like, oh, my favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard. Yo, my favorite Christmas movie is Gremlins. And I think like Gremlins is actually a Christmas movie. Yeah, it holds some powerful Christmas messages, you know, that you could take into your everyday life. Die Hard. I just watched this film. There is no Christmas messages in it. Let me know in the comments below if you know of any of the Christmas messages that this film holds, because I don't think it has, you know, the Christian values that I'm looking at when I'm trying to watch like a Christmas movie. I did enjoy this film, so don't get me wrong. I just don't think, like, I'm never gonna say like it's my favorite Christmas movie because I'm not cool and edgy like that. I'm gonna say something like Gremlins or maybe A Christmas Story. I don't think Die Hard's a Christmas movie. If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, hey, Wake and Fright is a Christmas movie. I'm sure there's many other movies that just take place during Christmas. But this is a conversation for another day. I'll probably make a video on that at a later point. But getting into my actual thoughts on Die Hard, I thought this film is awesome. I thought the script is what makes it so strong. Like, honestly, the script, there's so many little things like here and there that get introduced and end up becoming like something bigger later in the movie. And that's what I like in a script, is just like when there are things that you just kind of barely notice, or maybe it's just hinted at, and then like towards the end, like it's kind of that twist and like that, oh, this is actually like a big like plot device, or this is, you know, something that's going to make a difference into the ending of this film. This film had a ton of those aspects, and I thought that just in general, like the script is just so tight, so cool. I'm not even really that big of a fan of Bruce Willis, but I thought John McClane is definitely someone to root for. Like, you just definitely, you know, you're like, oh man, he's a cop, but like this is his day off, and like just gotta, you never have a day off as a cop, I guess. At least that's what this film, that's the message that I got from this film, and that's not a great message in this day and age.
Yeah, not so much in this day and age, but like back then though, like, yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
You've seen bits and pieces probably here and there. It's something that I did watch, you know, I've seen like the glass like cutting scene and like that kind of like final type of shootout where he's like, they're like, oh, let's shoot the glass. Like, I thought that all those aspects, the fact that he's barefoot and like it plays into the film, like that was a lot of fun, like watching this again. I mean, let's just say probably one of my favorite characters in the movie, Reginald VelJohnson. He just kills it. Like, he's probably one of the best aspects of the movie.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Dude, it has that sentimental like aspect that a lot of the 90s movies, something that we talked about in the past, not my favorite thing is like the sentimental 90s movies. I know this is late 80s, but it has that moment where like Sergeant Al Powell is like saying like the reason that he doesn't even hold a gun anymore is because he shot like a kid, and you're like, damn, like that even like burned, and like I felt like right now more especially, and seeing like that even twist towards the end of the movie to, you know, play towards his character, kind of making some development, making some ground on, you know, being able to use his gun and like kind of forgive his past. Like, yeah, I thought this movie was awesome, honestly.
Yeah. No, what I loved, I think a lot about it is I love 80s action movies. I mean, more in particular, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Like I love Predator and Commando and just like how untouchable he is. And like a lot of his style movies are. Total Recall and RoboCop are probably my favorite. I think Total Recall technically came out in 1990, but it definitely feels more like an 80s movie. But I really enjoyed watching Die Hard to see a character who's not untouchable, essentially. You're seeing him in pain, he's complaining throughout the entire time and stuff. And I think that makes him just a little bit more relatable. And actually one thing I really wanted to like shout out to this movie is also, it doesn't have some crazy grand scheme or anything. It's just like a heist movie that like an NYPD officer just accidentally gets in the middle of and stuff. But the stakes feel real and everything. And one thing that just got added to Netflix, I watched the first season of Cobra Kai on YouTube back when it first started, but I never watched the second season. And watching it now, it kind of like feels similar. Like I miss how just something so low key feels very grand. Like there's a lot of stakes thrown into like both movies and TV shows, I'd say, where it's maybe not like it's not relying on the end of the world, but it's so important to the characters and you feel that you don't get that in a lot of like superhero movies where it literally is the world on the line, but it just feels like, oh, we're gonna crack jokes and stuff, and you know, like so much destruction's gonna happen, there's gonna be so many people dying in the background that it's not shown on screen, so you just don't give a F about and stuff. Right here, like it just feels very real, but it still feels so grand and stuff. And also, I didn't even realize that this was like shot in Century City. I work in Century City, so I'm so happy I like paid closer attention this time. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't realize that ahead of time. I always just remember the skyscraper, but yeah,
you drive by Nakatomi Plaza every day.
It was wild, and now like I'm looking forward to going to work later this week and just being like, oh wow, like just watch Die Hard, like that's sick.
Yeah, and I think the thing that really made me enjoy it the most was the script. And I know I've said it before, but I thought the script was just really tight, really well done. I think that that's what, you know, ended up to make the movie like so fun, you know?
Definitely, and there's like a lot of like really big moments also. Like some of my favorite scenes, of course, were with Reginald and Bruce Willis, like just talking, you know, just basically just with walkie-talkies and stuff. Like those are really great scenes that I enjoyed and just like brought a lot of humanity to their characters and just in this freaky, messed up situation. But also when Bruce Willis or John McClane finally meets Hans, and just Hans is pretending to be hostage in that situation. Like that was a really strong moment too, that I was just like, wow, this is like good stuff. And yeah, like you said, the script is the big reason to thank for this movie just working overall. And I'm actually interested to see some of the sequels too now. I mean, not so much like the reboot ones that came out in recent years where they feel a lot more grand. I remember there's a scene where like he's literally on an airplane, like walking on it while it's flying or something. Like I'm not interested in that stuff. Like maybe if you enjoyed the two newer Die Hard movies, like that's fine and stuff, but I'm not into that. But I'm curious to see like these other 90s sequels that we got though.
Yeah, I think honestly this film, like it's a slight shame that I hadn't seen this film. Yeah, I'm glad that I finally have. It makes me want to go back and watch a lot of these films from the same era. But it was cool to see, you know, this film that kind of changed the 80s action hero that we knew. Like you mentioned Commando and Arnold Schwarzenegger. This film is kind of the beginning of a different action hero. Bruce Willis received an unheard of fee for like an actor at the time, which is $5 million. And that had to even be signed off by the president of Fox, Rupert Murdoch. Because like just to star in this movie, which was he wasn't like an action star, so to star in this movie, which is an action movie, he was getting, you know, one of the biggest fees that an action star had ever gotten at the time. And he really changed like what people knew of an action star. Like you didn't really see that. You saw these invincible, muscled up beefcakes, I guess you could say, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly, just, you know, with these huge muscles, all greased up. You know, Bruce Willis doesn't have that. He's barefooted in this movie.
Yeah, and speaking of, apparently they were offered the roles for this movie. I was looking at some of the actors who got offered, and Arnold wanted to get into comedy more, so he's passed on this and took Twins instead, which is a classic on its own style movie. But it's still, like, it would have been a whole different movie though if Arnold or Sly took this role essentially.
So I think that's gonna close this out, guys. I really enjoyed it, and I'm pretty sure you enjoyed it as well. So I think if you guys haven't checked it out yet, most likely you have if you made it to the end of this video. If you haven't, I would definitely recommend going and checking out what could possibly be your favorite Christmas movie, Die Hard. But if you guys want to support the show, the best way to do that is by clicking the Amazon affiliate link in the description box below to watch Die Hard.
After doing that, come back here, let us know what you thought about the movie, leave a comment, and smash that like button. That really helps us out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to get all our latest updates.
And if you guys haven't seen, we are currently now on Instagram, so go check us out there. It's at Driveby Movies, and you can find that right down there. And that's going to be it for this week. Tune in next week for a brand new Never Have I Ever.